Hey everybody, Massachusetts Prepper here. Well, today we're gonna do a little review on the Mora Light My Fire knife. Now, this is the Swedish fire knife. From my opinion, this thing is a stellar outdoor knife with a built-in fire steel. Now, I've been criticized on some of my videos about cleaning up my knives and not having them look like they've been used, so I haven't cleaned this knife up at all. I've left it with the fat wood residue on it from processing fat wood, and it's just dirty. And you know, I like to keep my knives clean. I like to keep them looking new and well taken care of. I've been using this knife quite a bit, and you've probably seen it in a number of my videos where I've been starting fires, because I do use it quite a bit. Now, this knife is actually a collaboration between Light My Fire and Mora of Sweden. Mora has made a top-notch knife for like 120 years, but this is more than just a extremely sharp knife, and it is extremely sharp, everybody. This knife is flexible, sturdy. It's an all-around good knife. The handle does contain the fire steel. In other words, you can gut and clean a fish, split kindling, and light your fire with this single handy dandy tool. Now, you do get the sheath with this knife, and the sheath is nothing spectacular. I mean, it's just a molded plastic sheath. It does have a drain hole in the bottom, as you can see there, or if you can see that, you should be able to see right through there. So I mean, it's nothing spectacular. It's lightweight. It's waterproof and very durable. I've had no problems with it. It does have a nice little belt loop that holds on to your pants or your belt really good, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. And there is a nice little thumb spot here to just push and pull the knife right out. It comes out fairly easy, but does have some good retention. Now, the features of this knife is a flexible and sturdy blade. The blade will give a little bit. This one is sticky with some fat wood pine tar on it, because I have been using it to process fat wood. The sheath does have the clip, as I mentioned, and it does have a high friction rubber handle, so you get a really good grip on this knife when everything is together. Nice grip. The rubber feels good. It's not going to slip out of your hands. It's got a lot of traction. And this, like I said, does include the original Swedish fire steel fire starter. And as you can see, I've used the dickens out of this one. I mean, it's been used quite a bit. And what makes this so handy is it does just lock right into the handle, and it's not going to come out. You have to turn it. It locks in good and then pulls out. So it does lock up real nice. So you're not just going to lose your fire steel by any means. Now, this is excellent for lighting your campfires. You know, you've seen me light Maya dust with it. In a recent video, you've seen me light some fairy dust with it. But this is good for lighting your campfires, lighting your gas stove, or your barbecue grill. It'll work with all of those. And it works equally well when it's wet. Now, I know we've heard some people say that if you get a fire steel wet, it's useless. It doesn't work. Well, I've dunked mine in water and still had great sparks with them. So, you know, I don't know if they were using inferior ferro rods or what, but this one lights well. So you do get, you know, a predictable performance out of it. And you're going to have that same performance at altitude. So if you're high up in the mountains or way down in the valleys, you're going to have a predictable performance out of this fire steel or this ferro rod. I don't know why I call it a fire steel, and a lot of people get upset when you call them fire steels. But it's a ferro rod and knife. So let me just go ahead and clarify that. Now, this does produce a spark. They state that it produces a spark of 5,400 degree Fahrenheit in the spark. You do get a nice spark with this. This is the smaller ferro rod. There are some made by the Swedish fire steel that are much larger than this, and they throw excellent sparks. This one, to be such a small one, does equally as well. Now, the overall length of this is 8.5 inches. So it's a good sized knife, and like I said, it does fit well in your hand. And you know, you get a good grip, no slip, very sharp. One thing to note, this is not a full tang. Okay, the blade ends up stopping right around in here. If you take a magnet and you put on here, you can actually tell right where the blade stops. But now they did have to make room for the fire steel to go in here. So as you can see, you know, it's hollowed out pretty good. So your tang's going to end up stopping somewhere right in here. So this is not a full tang. So if you go batoning with this and you're not paying real close attention, you could, you know, pretty much destroy your knife. The blade length is 3 3/4 inches long, and the cutting edge does go all the way back to the handle. So you do have the full 3 3/4 inches. The blade material is stainless steel, and the blade style, they say, is a clip point. It does have a hollow grind, and the finish is satin, not that you would be able to tell as dirty as my knife is. But the edge type is plain. The handle length is 4 3/4 inches, and the handle material is a polymer. The color is gray and black. This knife weighs in at 2.20 ounces, 2.20 ounces, and it is a fixed blade, and the brand is Light My Fire. The model is a fire knife, and the country of origin is Sweden. Now, the best use for this knife is camping and hiking, is what they claim. You probably can use this knife for a lot of everyday tasks, and I would just say be very careful. This thing is sharp, and like all Mora knives, they're usually stupid sharp, so they will cut you. And like I said, I've been processing a ton of stuff with this knife, and it is still nice and sharp. Let's just see on the cut test. Well, we got a little bit of tearing. This isn't the best paper, but this knife has been used and abused. I've put it through a lot of, there we go, a lot of wood processing and stuff, and it's, you know, it can be sharpened up, absolutely, but it doesn't seem to be doing too awful bad for how much processing and how much time I've used it, and I have not sharpened it all. But anyway, guys, this was my first Mora knife. I'm glad I went with the Light My Fire and got that Swedish fire steel or ferro rod built into the handle. It kind of gives me redundancy in my pack when I'm out on the trail. And it's a very sharp knife that I can use for a lot of different applications. The spine is really good at striking on the ferro rod, processing Maya dust. Just overall, real good knife. I'm very happy with it. I've been using it for a month or so now, probably a couple months. And it's just, you know, it's met all my needs and then some. And believe me, if I didn't like it, or if I had anything negative to say about it, I would. And probably the only negative I have is the sheath. Could have been made out of a little bit higher quality. But then when you're looking at something in the $25 to $30 range, you're not expecting a whole lot from a sheath. Would it be better if it had a full tang? Absolutely. But then you would not have room for the fire steel or the ferro rod. So for the money paid, the quality of the knife, excellent. I really like it. I enjoy using it. So will you survive whatever comes your way? I sure hope so. This is the Massachusetts Prepper saying, take care all. There we go. So it does light. I don't think it lights as well as the Maya dust myself, but with that being said, you do get a flame with it.